players go out on they go on national duties. So apart from that, he probably wouldn't have a great deal of time to get all these guys in, getting them playing what they want. Sure enough, they'd have a piece of paper or tapes and saying, this is what we're going to do, this is what we want, the style of play we want you to do. But these guys would know yourself. You wouldn't be able to just put that into. You could move it around on a spreadsheet or draw stuff up, but actually training it, playing it with the guys actually out there, they'd probably only have a week to get it together.
Yeah, I think one of the big criticisms of Ange is that even this late in the qualification process, we still don't know what the best 11 is.
Yeah.
And he's used a lot of different players in a lot of different positions. And, looking at, I don't know what it's like with the AFL, but certainly with the NRL, the team that usually wins the premiership is often the team that used the least amount of players throughout the season.
Yeah.
When you've got that continuity in your team, the same players every week, it makes it a lot easier.
We touched on that with the Eels as well, like with selection coming up and their league team bowing out, it comes down to change of team. So the other thing we wanted to put the blowtorch on was the Coburn. What the hell happened in Coburn?
Yeah, I don't really know. There's a lot of information and misinformation out there as to what's going on. Just to sort of, if anyone's been living under a rock and hasn't heard about this, a team in the Amateur Football League, they've made the finals, and they've been booted from the finals this year, next year, and they're staring down the barrel of a $40,000 fine. And anybody that's ever been involved with an amateur football team, a $40,000 fine, you're kidding yourself. There is no way they're going to be able to find that sort of money.
So from what we've heard, it is based around that they were paying players in fuel, and they were paying match fees. So we're talking, for some players, maybe $60 a game. I don't know if that. I don't know if that's
is
if
the
that's
crime actually.
Yeah.
The...
if they were paying players $500-600 to come play, that's a different story. But
you hear openly people speak about footballers not playing waffle or A-grade amateurs or anything like that. They go and play country football because they get paid more.
Yeah, that's it.
So
they get paid heaps.
I don't quite understand. I don't know enough. I know the story, but I don't know quite enough about the rules behind the decision as to why Coburn got what they got. But I wouldn't have thought this would have been groundbreaking for any football club. That's.
Yeah, I heard on a rival radio station, the president of Coburn being interviewed, and he was quite perplexed by it. As far as he knew, the whole decision made by the Amateur Football League was based around a statutory declaration from one player who, for whatever reason, is no longer with Coburn. So,
it's Kyle Reimers.
He refused to say that, but he allowed you to read between the lines that it's a disgruntled former player that's signed a stat deck but has no actual evidence. Yeah, well, that's what he said. He said there's no money trail.
This is not the first time this has happened, I can guarantee you of that.
For this sort of penalty, you think there's got to be a hell of a lot more to it than what the president of Coburn was letting on.
Yeah,
and look, the president slipping you a 20 saying that's to cover your fuel down to such and such because we're playing on the other side of the country today.
Yeah, exactly. And just to touch on, I did say it sounds like a Kyle Reimers, and that was because there was a lot of media scrutiny around that he was the whistleblower for Essendon because they delisted him. And by the sounds of it, that's the same type of thing that's happened at the moment. It sounds like the media are pushing that it's a disgruntled ex-player that's come forward and blown the whistle on the club, but I just don't know if the penalty is.
Kyle Reimers is sort of different profile.
No, sorry. I mean, that's what I mean, though. That's the kind of thing where
he's got another job on the week during the week and stuff like that. And Kyle basically would have been, living and breathing AFL football, and
But no, I mean, like as far as the media goes, it is that kind of that's what they're speculating on. I mean, it was never confirmed whether Reimers was the one that came forward or not, but there was always that speculation that it was an ex-player who'd been delisted and got upset about it and come forward.
I'm surprised that any association would have that much. Obviously, you can kick a team out of the finals and stuff like that, but to impose a $40,000 financial fine on a club?
Well, it's up to 40,000, so they haven't actually delivered the fine yet, and that may be, they could even defer that, so it could be $40,000 deferred fine. So if they do it again within the next,
like a suspended
fine sort of situation.
But hopefully they do something like that, because otherwise you may as well just pluck them out of the league and say goodbye, because the 40,000 is massive.
Even just making them ineligible for finals again next year.
It's going to kill this season, isn't it?
They did that with Essendon, but I mean that's a completely different scenario. You're not going to bankrupt them by them not being able to make finals. And, how are they going to recruit?
Well, exactly. Why are you going to play for a season where you know that you're not going to go anywhere?
Well, look at the Melbourne Storm.
Yeah,
that was basically running out, having a bit of a kick and stuff like that. They obviously had to keep doing it because of broadcast rights and everything else to.
Yeah, and they were able to pay players to get them to play for them. But
if you're
Coburn clearly don't have that option.
Rolling up for pre-season, what are we playing for this year?
Nothing.
Yeah.
It's...
isn't that how Carlton fans feel each year, isn't it?
It's a long way back.
All right, well, look, we're getting close to time, which is pretty amazing, seeing we thought we'd struggle for content. So we might just go through the upcoming prelims and finals again, just to kind of reiterate where they are. So we'll start with the Ellenbrook Eels. They're playing at Wyong Reserve in Bentley from 12 p.m. If you want to get over there and support the boys. And we've got the NRL WA prelim.
Yeah, so that's at Ken Allen Field down in Hilton, so near Fremantle. Should be a fantastic game of footy down there. So Joondalup Giants taking on the Rockingham Sharks. These are two teams that have been in the NRL WA competition for nearly 30 years, and both of them have one premiership each. The winner of that game will go through to the grand final for a chance to win their second ever premiership. So be a huge day down there, starting with the girls' league tag very early on in the day. About 11:30, I believe it all kicks off. First grade kicks off at 3:30.
Fantastic. And obviously the most important grand final this weekend is being played in Swan View.
Ellenbrook Sevens versus Averley. At ball, get amongst it.
Yep, that's it. It's the future.
Get amongst it. So,
look, if we have missed any of your sports today, or if you want us to do a shout-out for any events that you've got coming up, the Ellenbrook Eels have their Founders Medal this Saturday night, so we'll obviously get the results of that. But if there's any events coming up for your clubs or anything like that, do you want to get in touch with us on the Facebook page, which is LB Barisi and Donny in the Sheds at 88.5 FM, so that's where you find us on Facebook. Now that we've got the sport stuff out of the way, local sport, we do just want to touch quickly on a few games that are coming up that are international. So the Wallabies versus South Africa.
Yeah.
Until I read that on that piece of paper, I did not know that there was going to be a Wallabies test.
So yeah, this weekend, Wallabies taking on South Africa in Perth at NIB Stadium.
Who's running NRL? The ARU. Who's running their marketing department?
I knew that they were playing because a lot of my friends are Force members, and they're kind of promoting that you should be wearing your Force jersey, or don't go at all and boycott the ARU.
Yeah,
so
there's two different.
Yeah, that's it. So
West Australian, I haven't seen it in that.
No,
I haven't read it this week, but any other formats that I listen to or around the place, that's nowhere.
Yeah.
And Perth media wouldn't know it's on.
Well, the other aspect, I was listening to again a rival radio station, and
they were talking about rivals now.
They were talking about the ticket prices. I haven't actually looked into it, but they said the ticket prices for it are absolutely outrageous.
So it's at Subiaco, I take it?
No, it's at NIB Stadium.
NIB.
So
okay.
You'll be on the action and be able to see it if you go along.
You're not going to be
50 metres back, no matter where you sit. It's
NIB Stadium's a good stadium.
It is. It's a good place to watch the footy. Well, watch the rectangular sports from. But
that just throws up so many questions. I'm just sort of saying, what are ticket sales like then? Because nothing's going to do this sport anything good if you gets beamed around the country and there's no one there.
Yeah.
We're looking at 15 blokes all wearing wearing force jumpers, holding up a sign saying, give us our comp back.
Yeah. Yeah,
How is that going to benefit the sport in the state?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I suppose a lot of the marketing that I've seen towards it is trying to get people to go along. There are players that are in the force system that are playing for the Wallabies. Don't punish them for the crimes of the ARU, but at the end of the day, the Wallabies are an organisation themselves that are run by the ARU. So, you know, protesting against them by not showing up and as you say, giving them that international product with no one there.
Do the cause any good, but
no.
You know, I can guarantee you we won't see it again.
Quite possibly not if
it turns into a flop and no one fronts up and the people who are there are just basically showing their disdain for the ARU.
Well, you think that's what the ARU is doing, is giving us a game in Perth to see how we go? Well, I mean,
I don't think it's going to change.
Like I said, I mean, it hasn't
either way. But
no, I mean more like they're kind of, you know, will show. You know, Twiggy Forrest has made a few claims in that over the past few months. So they've gone, oh well, we're going to stick a game in, just show you that no one cares. They still want us to go see an Australian game, but they want to see Australia versus South Africa.
This would have been scheduled years in advance, but
I agree. The advertising for it's been very poor. I only knew about it because of a lot of friends that are going.
Through word of mouth.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't rely on that for an international sport.
You covering the sport as much as you do, you've come across it. But as my nephew mentioned that to me today when we're having lunch, and he says, "Oh, I'm going to go watch rugby on the weekend," and it was like, "What are you watching?" "Oh, the Wallabies are playing." I was like, "Oh, I don't think so." So, but there you go. That's
all right. So we'll just do another quick shout out for upcoming training sessions. So just remember that the Swan Valley Cricket Club and the Ellenbrook Rangers have their trainings on Tuesdays and Thursday nights, and we'll put some details on our Facebook page for that. Now we've got a couple of minutes to go. We've got the AFL Grand Finals on this weekend. Who have you got, Brucey? Who are you tipping?
I'm going to tip Swan Districts in an upset.
Yeah,
I reckon
over South Fremantle. And what about
we're on a roll?
And what about Subi versus Peel?
Can't be Subi.
Yeah, have to be Subi at home. And what about
they're a team that are just Schofield's got them that well coached that they know what to do, they know their roles, and they just blitz.
No, and in the AFL we've got first is going to be GWS versus Adelaide, and as we said before, Rory Sloane's out. Who have you got, Donnie?
I was on the Adelaide team, but I'm going to switch over to the Giants with that news. I think that's huge. I think even in Adelaide, GWS never won there before. Never won against Adelaide there. They beat Port Adelaide there once, but
that was beautiful. That's for you, Jimbo. That was beautiful to watch.
Adelaide for me on that one.
Yeah, I'm thinking the Giants as well. Now, what about the next game? Is obviously the most important of the round, and that's the Sydney Swans versus the Essendon Bombers at the SCG.
You don't need to look at me, mate. I'm on the Bomber train here.
Yeah,
I think
I find it hard to see the Bombers winning. I think the Swans are they're the most legitimate team in that bottom four.
Sydney,
I think Essendon are probably the second most legitimate team in that bottom four, but unfortunately they're running Sydney.
It's hopefully it's like the last game that we played. So, and Geelong versus Richmond, just quickly.
I'm praying for Richmond. Yeah,
I don't want to. My parents, one goes for Geelong, one goes for Richmond, so it's not going to be a happy household regardless. So I'll go for Geelong just because Dad does make sure there's beer in the fridge whenever I go around there, so I need to keep him happy. And lastly, we've got the Eagles versus the Power.
I think the Eagles will get this done.
I think so as well. I really think so as well. They have a cracking record at Port Adelaide.
Don't know who's going to show up. It could be Port. It could be the good Port or the bad Port.
There's no other team in the top 8 that I think the Eagles could beat, but I think they can beat Port Adelaide.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap up our show. Thank you to all those that are listening. You're listening to Albie, Brucey and Donnie in the Sheds, 88.5 FM, where the Valley comes alive. If you want to get in touch with the station, it's 9297 1088. The Facebook page is Radio VCA 88.5 FM. Or you can get in touch on our Facebook page, which is In the Sheds with Albie, Brucey and Donnie. Thank you very much for your time today, guys. Hopefully we've kept you entertained, and we hope to see you next week.
See you later, guys.